This is S&M Radio. I'm Shannon.
Hi, Mark.
And we are delving back into territory that the two of us sometimes are uncomfortable in. And we're going to be talking about, this time, a relatively new movie, just from 2 years ago, a 2014 movie to be exact. And it's a movie by the title of Late Phases.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. I actually picked it, and I'm not known for picking movies past 1986.
That's right, you did pick this one. I was trying to remember that yesterday, or this morning, me and my wife were watching it, and she was like, "Did you pick this movie?" And I was like, "I don't remember. I don't think so. I think Mark suggested it."
Isn't that weird?
It is weird, yeah, you're picking a new movie. Really weird. Like an event,
I know.
like a fairly new movie, because it came out in 2014. This is one of those movies, too, that even though which happens a lot anymore, the movie will be labeled like 2014, but then actually it doesn't get released till 2017. But this one is labeled 2014 and came out in 2014, or I should say it premiered in 2014 at South by Southwest.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
I watched it on Netflix, which I think is where you watched it too.
That is true.
And I don't think it's even necessarily a relatively new movie to Netflix. I think it's been on there for a while. The storyline is kind of I will say this about the storyline itself. The actual plot of the movie I thought was a little unique. So basically what the movie is you have this retired vet and his son basically drops him off in this retirement community. Then there's some mysterious happenings happening in this retirement community. Turns out it's a werewolf. I mean, there's no hiding the fact that it's a werewolf, because as soon as they start going into the first attack, or whatever you want to call it, you see the werewolf like walk right through the window. Like, I mean, there's no denying that that's what it is. This retirement community is like on the edge of these woods or something, and so this guy, this retired vet, is trying to tell like the police and other people, like, "Hey, something's going on," and they're all like, "You guys live by the woods. There's stuff coming out of the woods and attacking attacking the dogs and attacking the people and stuff. Just stay in your house. You'll be fine." And then, of course, this old guy figures it out that it's a werewolf and takes it into his own hands to resolve the situation, if you will.
He's blind too. We should mention that as well.
Yeah, he is blind. And the one thing I will say about him being blind, he was very believable at being blind. At least I thought, anyway. There was a couple of the things where he was doing, and you were like, yeah, I'm just like watching. I'm like, okay, I'm going to wait for him to like look at it or something. And he never did, which I thought was kind of cool.
He did a good job with the blind, being a blind character. Yeah, very, very believable, for sure.
So this was your suggestion. What were your thoughts on the movie?
I thought it was pretty good. I wasn't. I had seen the artwork or whatever on Netflix for a while, and kind of. I'm very, very skeptical about new films, and especially new horror movies. So I didn't really want to look into it. But then I don't know what it was. I think it was one of the reviews I read for it compared it to Silver Bullet, the '80s film written by Stephen King. And so I was kind of like, oh, it's okay. And then then I started kind of browsing the reviews, and they all kind of came back like where they enjoyed it. Like, a lot of people enjoyed it. And so I kind of thought to myself, oh, okay, that's kind of cool, and wanted to check it out. And I watched it, and yeah, I thought it was okay. I thought it was, it wasn't a bad film. And, I think Silver Bullet is certainly the superior film, but I was definitely not completely disappointed with it. But what did you think of the werewolf design?
Honestly, I wasn't really that big of a fan of it. To me, it reminded me of, and this kind of goes throughout the whole movie, to where these guys, whoever made this movie, I just imagine the pitch of this movie to the film studio was, all right, I got this idea. We're going to make a werewolf movie. Oh, cool. What's your idea? Well, do you ever see The Howling and American Werewolf in London and Silver Bullet, and then name any other werewolf movie from the 80s? So we're going to take different plot points from all of those movies, and then we're going to just mold them all together and make like a giant snowball, and then we're going to throw it against the wall, and then that's going to be our movie. And I kind of felt that was, even with the werewolf, it reminded me of the news reporter lady when she finally turned into the werewolf at the end of The Howling, mixed with the werewolf from Silver Bullet and the werewolf from An American Werewolf in London. It just looked like they took like the best pieces of all of those and like, you know, put them all together. The best way to describe it would be like you have all these different werewolves made out of Legos, and you break them all apart and you just take the coolest pieces out of all of them and stick them together.
I kind of like that.
And to me, this whole movie was that way. And the one thing I will say about the movie, I don't know why I've been pushing this off for so long, because we've been talking about doing this one for a couple of weeks, because we went to Flashback Weekend and then we did our Flashback Weekend review, was it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago? The last episode that came out was another undercover episode. So we hadn't even recorded for a couple of weeks, but I kept like pushing it off to the last minute, and then I was going to watch it last night. I actually started it last night after Svengoolie was over, but I'm getting old, folks, so I was like 15 minutes into it. I'm like, oh, I got to go to bed. So I got up this morning and turned it on and watched it, and my wife actually sat down and watched it with me, and she is not a horror fan at all. And we were like an hour into the movie, and she was like, so this is a horror movie, huh? I'm like, supposed to be, yeah. Is it going to get scary at some point? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you have, like I said before, so you had the opening, or it wasn't even really the opening scene of the movie. It was kind of like the second act of the movie. So the retired vet, he's blind, moves into this retirement community, and then it's like, right after he moves in, it happens to be the night of the full moon, and there's this attack on the lady that lives next door, and then the werewolf attacks his house, and he survives the attack. And then there's this really weird like drama throughout the movie from that initial first attack scene, which happens like 15 minutes into the movie, 10 minutes into the movie. But from that scene up until probably like the hour and 15-minute mark, there is absolutely nothing going on in the movie. It's like watching like a soap opera. You have all this weird drama between the dad and the kid, and this weird, I don't know why the guy, the main character, this vet, he was like a dick to all the people in his community. Like just a straight up like, screw you kind of attitude towards everybody in the community. It was really kind of weird. But the one positive with the movie was at the end of the movie, the kind of the climactic scene at the end of the movie was there was not one werewolf, but there was multiple werewolves. And so that ending was pretty cool. But I mean, overall, I really kind of felt like they took all these different pieces from all the movies and kind of put them together in this one story. And I don't know if they did that on purpose or if it was, you know, I want to make this werewolf movie and I want to pay homage to all these great werewolf movies of the past. Mm-hmm. I don't know which way it was, but that was kind of the feeling I got from it.
Yeah. I thought it was, the one thing I didn't care for so much was it seemed like there was a lot of, like the tone of the film didn't seem scary enough, and in a sense, like kind of like you said with the soap opera thing, but like just the way it was filmed, it like a lot of daylight shots, and it just I don't know how to explain it, but it like didn't like capture like the feel of like a werewolf movie. You know, like you watch The Howling or you watch and American Werewolf in London, and there's scenes in those films that just really capture. Like I think of the beginning of An American Werewolf in London when they're walking on the moors in England, and the darkness and the way it's directed and filmed. I thought that opening scene was great, and or like the howling. It just there's a lot of scenes in there that just really they're filmed perfectly, just like classic horror film. The lighting and the darkness and all of that. And it seemed like this movie didn't have that, or the way they filmed the werewolves wasn't quite. I don't know. Maybe it was a direction thing. I'm not sure, but I think they could have done a better job with that.
Yeah, it could have. They, yeah. Now that I think about it, I think the only really night scenes in the movie are that one at the very beginning and the one at the very end when there's werewolves. But I mean, other than that, I think the whole thing was that way too. You have this. They live in this gated community is where all these retired people live at. And then there's this which they were calling it the church social or whatever, but it was Sunday services at church is what it was.
Yeah.
But then, for some reason somebody's like, hey, you should go to this church every Sunday. They'll come and pick you up. And the guy's like, I'm not religious, but I'll go anyway. And so then he just starts going. I'm like, that's weird. I mean, the guy's a jerk to everybody. Why does he want to go hang out with people?
Right.
And then, but the whole thing was, I mean, even that, that aspect of it, because right away there, he goes to the church and then finds out that the priest is a smoker. And so then, it does one of these things where, oh, so the priest is the werewolf? Because he says, he makes a comment, in the next scene, the wolf smelled of smoke, kind of thing. And then, so you're always led down these little paths. And it wasn't hard to figure out. I mean, they kind of led you to believe that one person was the werewolf for 5 minutes and then turn around, in the next scene, psych, this guy's the werewolf.
Right.
Didn't mask it at all.
Yeah, it was kind of that sort of had the silver bullet type of vibe to it, where, you're trying to figure out who's the werewolf. It's going to be somebody we've seen or met already. So that kind of went down that road. Also with the, one thing I wanted to bring up was the transformation scene. Do you notice that there's a trend now with werewolf transformations where and this goes back to Trick or Treat and then to Wolf Cop, where the transformations are basically the wolf is underneath their skin and they rip the human skin off and underneath is the werewolf. Have you noticed that lately?
Yeah. Yep.
It's kind of a weird thing. It seems like that's kind of the new transformation scene.
Which I don't necessarily mind that so much. The one in this one was kind of weird because, like you had said, it was the wolf is under the skin, but then again, it goes back to what I was saying before because he had that where his skin was ripping and he had the fur under his skin and he's ripping it off. But then his hands and his feet and legs elongated out of the skin, and it was just, again, it was these, it just had this feel that it was, these guys didn't have an original idea in their head. I'm oh, let's take this from here and this from there. The only cool thing about the transformation scene, and this is probably one of the only really movies or moments in the movie that I was oh, cool, is when they show the transformation scene and he kind of tilts his head back in agony or whatever and digs his fingers into the flesh because he still has a human face, but most of them is turned already, and he just splits the skin off his face and just rips his face off, and I'm wow, that's kind of cool.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I thought the transformation was pretty fun. I mean, it's weird that they're doing it that way now, though. With the whole ripping the skin off and you're a werewolf underneath your humanity or whatever.
Yeah, but I wonder if because I know there's some other recent werewolf movies out there. I mean, they're all low budget ones and stuff. So I wonder if they do the same thing. And I wonder if the reason for that isn't mainly because of probably cost, but also one of the things too that you'll notice that a lot of these movies that seem to do that tend to be heavier on practical effects than any CGI or anything. And so I wonder if the reason why this hasn't been coming into play more often is because it's an easier effect to pull off than it is to have, like the old traditional where the hair comes through the skin and the face elongates and the arms and the hands elongate and stuff.
That could be. I think like the best transformations, in my opinion, were both An American Werewolf in London and The Howling. I just thought those two transformations were incredible. And I don't think even all the newer stuff that like Trick or Treat started it with the whole peeling off the skin, and then like we said, Wolf Cop, and obviously this film. I think it's kind of cool how they do that. But like I still think those An American Werewolf and The Howling really just kind of, that was where it was at.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about the Howling transformation scene, and every time I see it, it still bugs me, is like where the skin is like bubbling so bad.
Oh, you didn't like that?
Yeah, I don't know why I don't like that, but it just always, I mean, it's not that I hate it or anything, it just always kind of like, why is it doing that? That's weird.
Yeah, sure. No, I gotcha.
And I don't know why maybe there was a reason why when they wrote that in there, like, oh, we'll have it bubbling like it's like, because that's like the final process of it transforming from human to werewolf. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I always thought it was kind of cool.
But even like in this movie too, the other thing, again, that always reminded me of them stealing from other movies was the guy goes into town and goes to which I wasn't sure if this guy was actually like a gun dealer or if he was just like some guy like dealing guns out of his trunk of his car or what the deal was, but he goes into town and finds this guy and he's like, I need some silver bullets. And the guy's like, oh, I can do those for you.
Yeah.
It was just
that was kind of
weird.
strange.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that was another one of those things that kind of reminded me of Silver Bullet, the movie, actually, because with the whole idea of they went out to go get the silver bullet made, and then according to in this film, he's like, well, somebody else asked for this to be done before too, so he was kind of like well, who was it? And then you find out it's the person who ends up being the werewolf.
The only thing that this movie was missing that I wasn't, or I should say that I was anticipating as soon as I was kind of going, rip off, was I was waiting for the guy, the retired vet, to like say to his son or say to the priest or say to somebody, I need to get to the library so I can get a book out of the...
Right, exactly.
Of course, then he would have to be like, do you guys got this in Braille?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that would definitely be an important part of it.
Yeah, that's the only thing that was missing.
That was me, yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, like I said before, I went into it with open arms and in an open mind, and I didn't have any preconceptions of it at all. I didn't read anything about it. The only thing I had to go on was we were talking about the next episode a couple weeks ago. You were like, hey, let's do late phases. Or it was probably even before that. I think you even brought it up before, maybe even before Flashback. And so I was like, sure, yeah, let's do it. And like I said, I got like 5 minutes into it, and I was like, oh, seems all a little too familiar. I'm trying to give it some positives, but unfortunately, I'm not coming up with too many.
It was okay. So, are you going to give it a thumbs up then, or a thumbs down?
Oh, it's a thumbs down for me.
Thumbs down. Okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and the reason I do that is I'm not going to say it's a great movie. It's definitely not something I'm going to go watch again, but I think it was enjoyable enough. If you're sitting around, you're looking through, if you're a horror fan and you're looking around on the internet or or Netflix or whatever, looking for a for a film to watch, I'd say this one would kind of fit the bill. I mean, it's nothing great, nothing incredible, nothing that you're going to be. It's not in the caliber of The Howling or an American Werewolf of London or even Silver Bullet for that matter, but it was fun enough. There was enough of a story, and you cared about the main character enough. I think that it was worth watching if you got nothing better to do, I guess. So I'll give it a thumbs up, but my thumb's not like way up. It's just kind of like sort of like, slightly there.